welcome back to another episode of First Reviews podcast. My name is Stefano, and I'm joined today by Burt Binder, and we are here talking about Halfway to Amarillo. Burt, your new feature film. It's a mashup of different genres. It's a comedy. It's a western. I love this movie, and I'm really excited to talk to you about it today. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for saying that. I'm
Yeah.
glad you liked it. Yeah.
What was it about the western that interested you to make one, especially as your first major feature?
Well, first of all, I appreciate you calling it a Western. That's it's really cool to think of like because when making it, I thought of it as like kind of a comedy that had Western like aspects, but the idea of like getting to say I made a Western is really exciting. Um, I don't know. I've always loved Western. I love the Western music. The score. The traditional spaghetti Western score in this. Alan Blickel and Josh Wiener, the composers, created an entire score from scratch that was so fun to get to do. And I've always loved just like this is gonna sound weird, but like just like the black and white nature of like good guy and bad guy in a Western. But I just kind of I like how sometimes they're switched, like in Unforgiven, how the bad guy's the sheriff. Um, and I guess even superficially, like I just aesthetically love a Western.
You mentioned, black and white, good versus evil, and you obviously blur those lines in the movie. Peter Giles and Luke Jones play Eli West and Sheriff Ambrose. The two of them are, and yourself, your three-way dynamic have this conflict about who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, and that's an interesting story that ties into you as a writer and having writer's block. And how did you come up with that dynamic for this film?
Um, it kind of just came out as I was writing it. The idea of, I had the idea of the character coming from the book. And as I was writing it, like as I was kind of going through like their conversations, it kind of became like this opportunity to like touch on, oh, this is the guy who's responsible for everything that's gone wrong in my life. And that was funny to me and also like interesting, because I've always had like a tiny bit of guilt whenever I'm writing and like I'm like write something bad that happens to a character. Like I think a lot of writers feel that way, like even though it makes no sense because it's fictional, but like you're like, oh, this will be great if this character's, family dies, like or whatever. It's like, and it's like, so
Yeah.
there is that part of you. So I think I was kind of going off that like sort of guilt that I felt. It's like sometimes writing is work and sometimes it's fun. And in this case, it was just fun. It was like fun to write these scenes. So I was like, I knew, right.
Yeah. Your character goes through a moment in the film where, he's having this extreme writer's block, and it's, affecting his relationship. Your girlfriend, Naomi, they go through a struggle in the film because of your writer's block. Have you ever gone through a writer's block writing something, and how to get past that process?
I think early on, ironically, I don't really experience writer's block because I think writer's block is, and again, this is kind of where my character, in my opinion, went wrong, was struggling. It's a desire for perfection. I can't move on until it's perfect. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, I can't keep going until I figure out how to do this perfectly.
That's
And it's
true.
like that only makes sense in a world where you can't go back and rewrite. It's like so to me, like I just from early on, I'm like, I'll get it. Like before we shoot, I'll get it. Like I was okay with it not being perfect, because it's like to me, it's like um a finished draft that's fine is infinitely more valuable than like the greatest first 15 pages ever written.
Hmm.
It's like because like you can't do anything with that. So it's so to me, like writer's block, I haven't really experienced it in the sense of like to me, I'll just get it done. Like I just got to get through the draft, and then I'll go back and I mean, I've had places where I'm like, I'm not happy with this script, and I don't really know how to improve it. But it's not like a tradition, not in the way the character experiences it, where he can't finish it. It's more just like, I need somebody to give me good notes. The character is wrong. He's supposed to be wrong, and he's supposed to
Hmm.
be unhappy and miserable. He's making himself miserable. He's making everybody miserable. And I don't think that's conducive to good writing. I think like you should be enjoy. If you can't figure it out, go on a walk. And
Yeah, yeah. I sometimes get ideas when I'm doing everyday activities. It may sound procrastinative, but if I can't think of something, I will start doing some laundry or wash some dishes, and then boom, something just pops in there, right?
right, right, and music is very helpful too.
Music's a great tool. Little background, some background music, not too many vocals, just some beats.
Right. What do
Yeah.
you listen to when you're like trying to like get in the?
I'll listen to like melodic trance, sometimes like space sounds, just just background noise, really. Nothing with too many vocals really does the job for me.
Nah. That makes sense. Yeah, I like nonverbal. Like what I listen to a lot is I go on walks. I listen to Rat-a-tat. It's fully instrumental, but it's like their music is almost made for like cinema. Like it's almost
Okay.
made.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you listen to it and you're like, was this made for a movie? Like it's like it feels like it.
Like orchestral.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's like I don't know. It allows me to like imagine stuff really easily.
That's smart. Absolutely. Especially if you're in your position, you're trying to craft scenes. So to have that music that sounds like it would be a score, absolutely.
Right, right.
You took on many roles in this film, this being your baby. You wrote it, then you starred in it, and then you directed it. You have a fairly large cast as well. What was it like jumping into the director's seat, acting in it yourself?
I I wasn't originally going to direct the movie.
Okay.
I was going to write and play the role, just because as an actor, I was really just trying to write something. There's another director who was going to do it, who um, helped out with the script, and but they had a show that just got picked up, so like it was like this great opportunity that they had to take, and you know, but we had already scheduled it. We got all the cast. It was like right, it was like in motion, and so it was kind of like we couldn't figure out who was going to direct it, and I kind of threw my hat in the ring.
You obviously have intentions of directing, so this wasn't something that you were totally unfamiliar with. You just took it on yourself. You said, I'm going to do this myself. Why not?
Right, right. I mean, I always saw myself directing one day,
Mhm.
um, but the amount of control that a director had it scared me. Especially as an actor, where you're taught to, you basically your job is to give up control and give up
Mhm.
control to someone else's vision. So when you give it up control to your own vision, it's like this weird like oxymoron almost. So it was a little bit unsettling, and having to be in the scene, but also thinking about who's going to move the U-Haul and who's going to set
Yeah.
up crap. That uh, but at the end of the day, like getting in and like I said, getting to sit while they made, Alan Blickel and Josh Whedon got to crack that score and sit with the colorist and the editor. It was awesome. It was so cool.
I watched your interview with your dad, Mike. He said Burt is a comic. He may not do stand up, but he definitely is a comic. And I totally agree with him on that, because this movie was really funny.
I appreciate you saying it's fun. I almost feel like even talking about this is tooting my own horn. But I what worked and what I wanted to mine was the point of views of each character, the
Okay.
contrasting point of views. You did this to me and I'm mad at you for this reason. Well, you
Mhm.
did this to me and I'm mad at you for this. Everybody was making their case. you know,
Hmm.
and I think there's a lot of comedy in the way people make their case, the way it overlaps, the way your case
Yeah,
derails the case, the way
exactly.
you come to a new conclusion. Oh wait, I didn't realize. You know what I mean? It's like so. I think in that in the way of like I almost tried to just play it as if this was actually happening. You know,
Yeah.
and it's a ridiculous thing that it's like, of course it's gonna be funny because it's so out absurd.
Yeah.
You
There are a
know,
lot of jokes about just the um, cowboy from a certain era being in modern times and interacting with, new technology, like the toilet, that, basic everyday situations that they're both unfamiliar with.
right, right. Well, actually, now that you say that, I did have to kind of like consciously write some bits and jokes and for the fish out of water aspects of it. You know, you definitely had to have that
Of
in a
course.
concept
Yeah.
like this. You got to have the interaction. So like there was just kind of like what's funny, and a lot of it was writing for these actors. Like Peter Giles, I knew Peter Giles so well. And like I knew his sense of humor and his cadence and the way he can just kind of like out of the side of his mouth, like grumble the funniest thing you've ever heard, and like just like say something like totally like and like so I was just like writing for that, and that made it easier. It's so easy, not easy, but it helps when you know the actors and you know what they're capable of, and you're writing for an actor, and then you just go, okay, well, how have they made me laugh in real life? Like, what's funny about them? And then you just kind of write to that, and like it's like so a
Yeah,
lot of
that makes sense
yeah,
completely. It's great when you know the actors and you're able to understand what how they will say it, how they will speak the lines, and how funny it will sound coming from them.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Or you mentioned in another podcast that your next film is going to be a crime thriller comedy. So another, genre mashup. Is there anything you can mention about that?
Well, I can tell you the quick synopsis is it's a young woman who works for her mother's real estate company is kind of staging her first house, and a group of well, a group of people knock on the door one by one, kind of coming in and under some facade, and slowly she realizes that they're actually a group of criminals who just robbed a bank and shit went sideways and they're looking for a place to hide close by, and slowly she realizes she's a hostage, and then slowly in a weird way she realizes she's in charge
Interesting. Okay, cool.
so it's just kind of like again it's a thing where the situation kind of takes it to a place that I thought was funny.
Yeah, the film was at the LA Film Festival last year, and it won Best Independent Film. That's an amazing accomplishment. And how did that award, make you feel, or how did it motivate you for, next film festivals and your next film?
It felt really good.
Mhm.
It was cool because I'd spent 2 years basically with only the only people that have seen the movie were people that worked on it. Um, and so I didn't have any external, like, not that I should need it, but it is nice external validation, external praise. And it was like so that was like the first like hit like stamp of approval, and it felt really good, and it just motivated me to like okay, there's they like this movie, so like at least somebody likes it, and then we'll go from there, and hopefully more people get to
Yeah,
see it.
absolutely. Halfway to Amarillo is currently available on all digital platforms. Now that it's made its way through the festival run, it is available on Apple, on Prime Movies. You can watch it anywhere you purchase your digital films. It is an amazing comedy. I had a lot of fun with it. And Bert, I wanted to thank you very much for joining me today and chatting about it.
Thank you so much for having me, man.